Okay, it's about 6:30, so we're going to get started.
Thank you.
Transportation Planning Policy Committee of Kern COG, please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ione.
Here.
Carr. Couch.
Here.
Espinoza.
Here.
Gorman.
Here.
Hawkins. Cryer. Morse.
Here.
Navarro.
Here.
Parlier. Para.
I'm here.
Reyes.
Here.
Reyna.
I'm here.
Bob Smith.
I am here.
Phil Smith.
Here.
And Warney.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the committee on any matter not on this agenda but under the jurisdiction of the committee. Committee members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the committee at a later meeting. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record prior to making a presentation. Do we have any public comments? Yes, we do. Welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you for your service to the community. My name is Vicki Vega. I live in Wofford Heights, California. Is that the sort of address you need?
That's fine. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'm here this evening to speak to you about 2 serious dangers occurring in the Kern River Canyon. I'm not a social media user. I would have posted my presentation here this evening, and I'm sure other people would have weighed in. I've been a passenger on that old road since 1957, and I've been driving that canyon for the last 50 years. There used to be call boxes where you could contact rescuers. I understand that they were moved because of the rise of cell phones. The problem is that there is no cell service in the canyon. So if someone is injured in an accident, you have to wait until someone reaches one end of the canyon or the other and gets a cell contact so that they can call first responders. I find it very likely that someone has probably lost their life because of that time lag. The other thing is that if you break down in the canyon, you are at the mercy of hoping that someone who is also lives up there and understands the predicament will stop and help you. And that often does happen. But if it doesn't, you're just stranded. I spoke with a Kern Fire Department member, and he said that it was very helpful to them when they had the call boxes because that gave them a specific location as to where to respond to the accident because they had the locations of all the call box numbers. I understand that they were taken out because of expense, but accidents occur weekly in the canyon, sometimes several times a week. And it just isn't, there are people that live up in the canyon that are not willing to leave because of the precipitous situation of having a breakdown in the canyon. So we were essentially trapping people up there, and that doesn't seem fair. And I'm asking you to reconsider and replace the emergency call boxes in the Kern River Canyon. putting them within walking distance of each other. Removing the call boxes elsewhere was probably rational. For residents of the KRV, it has spelt disaster and truly unsafe driving conditions.
Thank you.
I have a second issue I wanted to address, but I wanted to know if you had any questions first.
Any comments?
I have a comment, but I'll
Supervisor
wait
Couch.
till you're finished with your second one.
The second one is that the valley attracts residents, or excuse me, the valley attracts visitors from all over the world. And we only have signs signifying the danger of that river in two languages, Spanish and English. There was a family whose loved one had been swept away, and they were sitting vigil at the end of the mouth of the canyon waiting for the body to be recovered. I took them a case of water. I spoke to the father and I said, "This is a very dangerous river." And he said, "Yes, we're finding that out." That's not the way someone needs to find out that it's dangerous to get in the Kern River. And it needs to be in multiple languages at the beginning of the canyon. That's just a suggestion. I met a group of motorcycle riders that were all riding Harleys with Virginia plates, and they were all speaking in European accents that I couldn't understand, and I asked if one of them spoke English. And I said to them, "You're really going to enjoy your ride on those bikes in the canyon, but don't get in the river." So it shouldn't be up to the people that live up there to warn people.
Thank you. Comment, Supervisor Couch?
I want to address your first comment. I'm old enough now and been around in this capacity, maybe too long, long enough to be able to tell you that what really started the removal of the call boxes was, and I don't know what year this was, we were sued by a group that was representing the deaf. They wanted, that sounds a little crass, but I'm just telling you the way it was told to us. They wanted equal access was the basis of the suit, because someone who couldn't hear couldn't use the call box. So they wanted all of the call boxes to have the TTY technology, which was prohibitively expensive. We went through, Phil, you were here then, weren't you? Yeah. We went through many, correct me where I go astray here, we went through many years, not many years, a couple of years of looking at the call box volumes from each call box and where the cell phone coverage was best and where it was weak. And we ultimately ended up taking out almost all of them, except in areas where there was absolutely, at that time anyway, no cell phone coverage, and installing that technology in those few areas. And it was a handful of call boxes, as I recall, not very many left. And now they've been taken out due to, we were talking about this just before we started the meeting here, upwards of $40,000 to $50,000 a month in maintenance and repairs every month. But your point is well taken. And additionally, I think there was a cell phone tower that was lost in a fire.
That's correct.
That probably served that area. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's not the district I represent. It's not Supervisor Parlier's district, but we can certainly, I don't know who the provider is for the cell phone, whose tower it was is what I'm
Well, I don't
getting
know
at.
whose tower it was either. It was lost during the Erskine fire and was never
Yeah.
rebuilt. We have no way to pressure the owner of that cell phone tower to replace it. However, we are putting the lives of the people that travel that canyon at risk.
Well, let us see what we can do about that. I don't know that we can do anything, but we can try.
Thank you.
So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other, one more.
So when you're dialing 911, it'll hit any closest tower, correct?
You have no cell phone service in the canyon. When I
So
enter
there's
the,
no towers of any carrier?
there's no
that-
towers of any carrier in the canyon. If I am talking to somebody and I enter that canyon, my phone goes dead.
I know exactly which spots where I'm going to lose it. I'll tell them I'll pick you up in a few minutes. And there's certain areas, but I understand exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I've
let's
had
see if we can-
breakdowns. I've had flat tires. I had breakdowns. My truck broke down, and both times I had no spare. So to not be able to call for any assistance is the most helpless feeling.
We need at least a universal tower that would pick up any signal and repeat it. So there's got to be technology out there that can help us out here.
We
And
need
our-
to not have people trapped
Yeah.
without a way to ask for help, and especially for people to not have to wait so long to get first responders to an accident.
Let's see what we can do as a group to help you.
Thank you.
Maybe we need to contact Starlink, Elon Musk.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Seeing none, I'll move to consent agenda opportunity for public comment. Same rules. Is there anybody wish to make comment on the consent agenda?
Motion on consent.
Second?
Motion by Couch and second by Phil Smith. Federal Transportation Improvement Program.
We need roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call. Ready to move on?
Ione.
Aye.
Carr. Couch.
Yes.
Espinoza.
Yes.
Gorman.
Yes.
Morse.
Yes.
Parlier.
Yes.
Para.
Yes.
Reyna.
Yes.
Bob Smith.
Yes.
Phil Smith.
Yes.
Warney.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2025 Federal Transportation Improvement Program Draft Amendment Number 2.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. Amendment 2 to the 2025 FTIP includes revisions to the State Highway Operations and Protection Program, the Transit Program, the Non-Motorized Program, and adds the Transportation Enhancement Activities Program. The amendment was circulated to the Transportation Technical Advisory Committee via email January 3rd, 2025. At this time, I ask the Chair to open the public hearing, hear public comments, and close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. I will open the public hearing. Any comments? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Thank you. Caltrans report. We'll go to District 6 because we missed him so much.
Thank you, Chair. I don't assume anymore. I wait for you to declare which district's going first, but thank you. Yeah, it has been a few months. I apologize. I've been away, but it's good to be back. So I'm gonna make up for lost time and give a long report, maybe. We'll see. A couple announcements. So staffing announcement. You may have heard, but our director Diana Gomez retired after about 35 years of service. So her last day was on December 26th. So currently we have an interim director, Harpreet Benning. He's my counterpart, a deputy director over our construction office. So we envision he'll be in that capacity for probably month of January, maybe February as well, until they appoint a permanent district director. Clean California Active Project, so making some progress there. So the bus shelters from Kern Regional Transit, those were installed in Taft and Lake Isabella. You probably noticed in the city of Bakersfield, Union Avenue is progressing. So we expect to have that project all buttoned up this spring. Art installation is ongoing in McFarland and Delano, and then we completed the Arvin Clean California project as well. So glad to see those projects move forward. Hate to see that program go away, though. State Route 99, just want to give you an update. As I've reported in the past, we're working on that comprehensive multimodal corridor plan. This past year, we did our first round of public engagement, but we'll be doing our second round, responding to the items that were brought up in the first round, giving updates on where we are at with that project. We're on schedule to have that report complete by June 30th of this year. And so we're doing them virtually, so February 5th and February 6th at 6:30 and 5:30 p.m. respectively, we'll be doing the outreach for Tulare and Kings and Kern County jointly. So more information to follow on that. On to projects, so State Route 46 and State Route 43 intersection improvements. That project is currently in the design phase. Looking for a spring construction on that project.
Michael, may I interrupt you?
Sure.
Is that for the roundabout?
Roundabout project, correct, 46 and 43. State Route 99, southbound to westbound connector ramp project. So we had our design kickoff meeting back in December, working with our geometrical approval design. occurred here this month of January, and we expect in March to be about 35% complete on design of that project. In Delano, there at 155, this is a rehab project. This project is being combined with the city intersection improvements at Stair Route 155 in Lexington. We expect to have that project ready to list in June of this summer and advertise in this fall for construction. The Stair Route 43 7th Standard Road Roundabout, design is progressing. The consultant's working on right-of-way base maps. Those were submitted a couple days ago, and we expect to have that project ready to list by the end of this calendar year. Kern State Route 58, this is a rehab project in the westbound direction near Edison, just west of Tejon Highway overcrossing. That contract was awarded to Griffith Construction, and total estimated working days on that is 130 days. Should be wrapping that project up February of 2025. And then we're also working on a follow-up project to address both the eastbound and westbound direction for the pavement that wasn't improved with this project. And so that's a little longer out, so we're expecting environmental work to be done winter of 2026. So this is about a 26, 27 timeframe for that full rehab project out on State Route 58. The California Aqueduct 166 Bridge Rehab Project, that project was awarded to Granite. There's a delayed start on that project as they pursue permits with DWR. We're looking at approximately probably July or August of this year as a start date for construction and wrapping that up at the end of the year. The Maricopa Rehab Project, that project is in construction, and we anticipate having that wrapped up here in the next couple weeks. Morning Drive Rehab Project on State Route 184, that project is almost complete. We expect it to be wrapped up in February. And then we're working on the Weed Patch Highway Project, which is just to the south of that on 184. So we completed design in December, and the project is scheduled to advertise March of this year, targeting summer construction. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I had mentioned when you were gone the last meeting about up in Sacramento, I noticed underneath I-5 where you walk into Old Town, there's classical music playing, and I said, maybe we can do that here at Garza's Circle in order to keep people from loitering about. Did you get that message, or?
Yeah, I did get that message. So I did talk with our maintenance and operations deputy. He didn't see any fatal flaws to it. Obviously, it's being done somewhere else in the state, so it should be okay. Something like that could most likely be done under an encroachment permit. And I know we've been trying to track down the individual who worked on this up in District 3, our Sacramento office. So we have reached out to them to get some guidance on how this was approved, how it was funded, who did it. And
okay.
So it's taking a little longer than I had hoped, but my office chief, Jim Peralt, who was here last month, actually he just sent me an email this evening saying he was still working on it. And so I think what I'm going to do is, if we don't have any success with District 3, I'm going to have John Liu reach out to his counterpart who should have some information on it, and then we can circle back and give you some kind of a strategy or approach to it.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Michael?
Yes, Chair, I have an
Yeah.
additional question. Michael, on the roundabout, the design phase, how far along are they, and when do you expect to start work on it?
So I think they were looking at spring construction was the last update I received,
Spring of this year?
wrapping up in spring. Is that what you recall, Aaron, or is that not right?
I thought it was a little bit further
Is
out.
it a little further out? Let me see real quick. Yeah, let me verify this update, because the update they gave me said spring, but I was envisioning it being a little further out too, so I will circle back with you
All right,
tomorrow.
thank you.
Yeah.
And I have a suggestion. I recently entered Freeway 99 from, Ming Avenue, going north. And I realized that a lot of people are still confused as to which lane they need to be on, whether it's the right lane or the left lane to continue on 99. I myself was confused. And so it may be a good idea to just paint on the road, which lane takes you where. I think it would be easily done, and it would be very visible for anybody, so that if you don't see this movement of cars moving this way and then moving
For
that
the
way.
weaving.
Yeah, so just a suggestion. I think it would alleviate that problem.
No, I appreciate that. And we've seen that treatment. I've seen it in certain areas of our district. Very commonly where I just came from Sacramento, you see like they'll put sometimes the freeway shield so people know which
Yeah,
way the
exactly.
birds are
Yeah,
merged.
that's
So
what I'm
it's not an
envisioning.
uncommon treatment, so I'll talk to our operations folks.
Thank you. That's it for me.
Michael, I have suggested that directly to John on the exact issue that Councilman Reyna is, because it is, even for people who've lived here for a long time, it is still confusing.
Right.
And on the roundabout, Michael and I were in a meeting about that and many other projects earlier this week. But I asked the project manager and her boss weighed in to give an update directly to the Wasco City Council, and that should be coming within the next month or two.
Thank you.
Correct, yeah, absolutely. I'll get you a response. Like I said, I'll follow up on the date, but as Aaron mentioned, I failed to mention that in our meeting, it was requested and suggested. It's a great idea. And we'll have our project team come out there and answer all questions, do a little presentation for the project for you.
Thank you so much.
We can work on a date that works for your council.
Thank you. Councilmember Smith.
And I'll tag on to that comment for that interchange. 58 East, I missed it the other day,
Okay.
right there. And it's a visual thing when you're looking at on and off ramps on the horizon as you're coming up on it. It comes up real quick, and I got onto the West Side Freeway, just like that. So the pavement marking and the shield would work very well.
See, I personally, I like those treatments, like I said, especially when I'm in an unfamiliar area, they seem to work.
Yeah.
They're pretty effective, so I'll talk with John.
Give them a question down here.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask a question. Could you elaborate a little bit on the 7th Standard and 43 roundabout and where it's at exactly and what were timetables?
Right, so right now, we're in the design phase. We expect to have that design done by the end, have it ready to list, which means we have design all buttoned up, ready to package for advertisement, and we're supposed to have design wrapped up by December of this year.
Okay, so it's still in the, okay, thank you.
Still progressing.
Supervisor Parlier.
Thank you. Michael, so when I was on Bakersfield City Council, they were talking about TRIP and the TRIP projects that were coming through. As far as what was displayed, it was never really drilled down, unless you had a microscope to see, some of the planning that was going on. So if you are going from 58 to southbound 99, there isn't an exit for Ming Avenue now. Valley Plaza, I've talked to the general manager a few times about it, regarding complaining about it. It's impacted their business, and also it's impacting White Lane for people not being able to exit at Ming Avenue. So White Lane is more impacted than it probably would be otherwise. That wall that runs from the interchange to Ming Avenue is guesstimation of, let's say, half a mile. So their question is there any way to be able to remove that wall? Because if you go down the 5 and the 210 where that and the 14 comes in, that interchange, or not interchange, but transition to get on the, let's say, the 210, the run is approximately the same, and you have, cross traffic going back and forth, the merge, and they feel, and it seems reasonable to me too, that you could potentially be able to do that from the interchange at 58 to Ming Avenue if that wall wasn't there.
So this has kind of been vetted, I think, a few times, right, Aaron? The short weaving distance is why the wall's in place?
Yeah, yes. So Supervisor Parlier, this issue has been negotiated with Caltrans many times, and they are not willing to remove that. I have suggested to John Michael, the head of maintenance, that we put signage on 58 before the Chester and H ramps to advise people to exit Chester and H to get to Valley Plaza, but that request has not been honored. I would request, Michael, that you revisit the request for the signage along 58, letting people know how to get to Valley Plaza, and revisit the issue of the weaving. But the wall you're talking about is a concrete barrier that is separating, and
Right.
Caltrans is unlikely to give on that issue.
Okay. One last final statement on that. Again, it impacts traffic down at White Lane, which is now part of my area as a supervisor. I've talked to the council members of both of those areas, and along with Jeff Flores, who's my counterpart that covers now the Valley Plaza area too. And I know it's a concern to all of us. Again, I don't know as far as the run or the regulation, but I know Valley Plaza, that mall opened in 1967. At one point, it was the largest single-story mall in the nation. That was under GGP, General Growth Properties. I believe it's under Brookfield now. And a lot of people kind of besmirch Valley Plaza, but that is really a moneymaker within the portfolio of that ownership, and really provides a lot of tax revenue for the city of Bakersfield. And we don't like to see them damaged
No, I'm
unnecessarily.
sensitive to your concerns. I'll have a follow-up conversation with John and see. Like I said, I can't, obviously, like Aaron mentioned, I don't know about removing the wall. There might be other ways to mitigate, like signage. Typically, our interchange spacing from a freeway to freeway connection is like 2 miles. As you mentioned, you could probably cite tons of examples up along the state where it's not 2 mile spacing for the weaving. But I'm happy to have a further conversation with John about how we can help kind of mitigate some of these impacts to those locations.
Okay, and is there a way, as you get to White Lane, because of that impact, the traffic backs up almost to Wilson or maybe even further? I don't know, an expansion or do something in that area too because of those impacts that are occurring?
The expansion, I'm
Well,
not familiar with the location, maybe.
Just meaning traffic is backing up, and I think it's the number 3 or 4 lane now. It used to be right around White Lane at the exit as you're going southbound. Now, traffic during a rush hour period builds up really past almost to Wilson or beyond, north of Wilson. When I say Wilson, the bridge. Just some other ways to mitigate that traffic buildup.
Yeah, so Michael, there is an auxiliary lane that was put in there over 15 years ago that may need to be extended, but also what's very important is there's a traffic light that is very close to the off-ramp that is controlled by the city of Bakersfield, and if the timing of that is off, it's at Weibel and White Lane. And it might be as simple as having the Caltrans maintenance guys and the city Bakersfield maintenance guys dial in the timing of that light so
Right.
traffic doesn't back up as much on the southbound off-ramp.
Okay, no, and they should be exploring opportunities to optimize the signal timing, so yeah, absolutely.
Great, thank you both. Thank you so much.
Any other comments?
I don't think.
I have a comment, sorry. Can you give us an update on State Route 223 from Comanche to King Street in the city of Arvin?
Yes, so that project, we're in the design phase. We had our 95% constructability review on January 9th, so that project will be ready to list this summer, and we expect to advertise it in the fall for construction.
Okay, thank you.
So that's the rehab project, for the rest of the group, that's the rehab project we're doing on 223, and we're doing rapid flashing beacons, some bulb outs, and a lot of complete streets elements along that corridor for pedestrian safety.
Thank you.
Anybody else? District 9, Ms. Carr, you're up.
Good evening. All right, we'll start with new traffic impacts. There's 2 projects that are impacting traffic on State Route 58. First is the Keene guardrail repair. It's occurring from Broom Road overcrossing to Keene Road. The outside westbound lane will be closed while Caltrans maintenance crews repair the guardrail. And the schedule is Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and there might be brief delays. Secondly, there's Mojave sign installations. Again, on State Road 58, there will be shoulder closures at 2 locations for sign installations. Eastbound work will happen near exit 172, and westbound work will happen just east of the Hyundai Kia Boulevard. And again, work is scheduled Monday through Thursday, starts early, 6:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And finally, in Ridgecrest, State Route 178 East between South Gateway Boulevard and Gold Canyon Street. The outside westbound lane will close for new curb ramp construction. Again, it's Monday through Friday, 6 to 5, and again, might have brief delays. You might have been wondering about the project that is occurring on State Route 58 between Randsburg Cutoff Road and the State Route 14 overpass, where they're doing the LADWP is actually replacing a whole strand of cable across, and they're right now, for the last week or so, they've been like very close to 58. I think they had to fly a helicopter that brought the cable across 58. Why I'm mentioning it, I've been, traveling a couple times in the last week through that area, and Google Maps has been trying to reroute you everywhere, through Mojave, up there. I checked to make sure that you can ignore Google Maps at the most, apart from when they had to close it down for the helicopter to pull the cable over. It's at the most a 5-minute delay. And it's quite something. There was at least half a dozen cranes out there on Tuesday working. So there. Oh, and then, let's see, we have the China Lake water main replacement. This is an ongoing project, and it's, again, on 178 East between North Brady Street and North Victor Street, and the westbound outside lane will be closed Monday through Friday, 6 to 4. And then the lane reopens after work hours, but the shoulder is closed at night. Then the other project that happened on January 7th is when they did the State Route 58 closure on the Tehachapi grade. It was the eastbound lane of 58 was closed for maintenance in really the location where the truck climbing lane project, part of the Keene paving project, will occur. And so it was east of 223 and west of Hart Flat Road. And it was reduced to one lane from 8 to 3, if you were so lucky to have traveled that at that time. And there was a number of necessary highway repairs that were done. But we also took that closure as an opportunity to gather information on traffic speed and volume. So this information is now being processed and will be utilized when developing the traffic handling and staging plans for the Keene pavement project and truck climbing lane. Currently, the Keene pavement project is at 30% design, and we anticipate advertising in June 2026, and construction will start in 2027. Finally, just a reminder, if you're applying for a Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant, the STPG grant program, the applications are due very soon, January 22nd. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Carr?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Oh, Bill, yes, of course.
Of course, certainly. Thank you, Catherine. So the rehab portion between Tehachapi and Keene is, or Chicaliani, actually, that rehab project is scheduled for construction 2027, but that's,
The Keene paving and the truck climbing lane?
but the truck climbing lane is not gonna be 2027.
It's all they've combined the two projects.
Okay, so that's pushing it out now from 2026
Let me
to
see.
2027.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to have a meeting with Caltrans, I think, on the 31st, because now that's really getting pushed out, because it was supposed to be go to construction in 26 for the truck climbing
Yeah.
lane portion of the big project.
I see what you mean. I can verify for you, but let me see if I have it.
I know
here.
that's all one big package.
It
The funding
is.
was all together, but the truck climbing lane, I understand, was not going to be, you wouldn't want to be doing the rehab on one side and truck climbing lane on the other side all at the same time.
I will verify, but I was under
But
the
you never know.
assumption that, yes, there was a lot of work going to be done at the same time. Let's see if I have it down here. I'm just looking real fast. I can't give you an answer right now.
That's
I don't
right.
have it. But I can verify for you.
Okay, and then on the study,
Yeah.
between Caliente and Hart Flat, where they had it down to one lane.
Yes,
I guess the rumor is that, not the rumor, they're trying to see if they can do the truck climbing lane project with one lane for 18 months. And that's not gonna work. So everybody, this isn't just Tehachapi residents going home.
yeah.
This is everybody that's got a trucking industry or some kind of a product going from the valley to the east.
I agree. It is
So,
a very
to try to
critical
say, well,
project.
for 18 months, we can just use one lane in that area. It's gonna, I think, as a group here, not just Tehachapi residents, I mean, we just seem to be, you know, I raise a lot of exposure to the situation, but it's a wonderful company, all your big corporations all your big shafters product, or your distribution centers, you've got, you know, we've got a lot of them here. And so taking that down to one lane for that long a period.
That's why we're building the truck climbing lanes, because it's a problem to begin with.
No, but when
Right.
you're 20 years behind.
No, I get it. That's what I'm saying.
Doing it, that would be, I'm just elevating a concern that 18 months of one lane right now. And anybody will tell you, it's later in the afternoon is when the trucks are full and heading out. That's when you're gonna have the highest impact.
I agree. It will have a great impact on both regional and interregional travelers. And I recommend that, I mean, as a resident of East Kern, that a discussion should be started sooner than later. I'm sure it has already started with the industries. I mean, it's services, it's schools, it's hospitals. It's definitely not a trivial project, and the impact is going to be severe.
Yeah.
So I do recommend, from my personally, to initiate discussion and to anticipate these disruptions.
Yes. I was on one of the helicopter tours, and one of the things with the California Transportation Commission, and so we flew out over the wonderful corporation, we flew over the new Amazon distribution center, all the distribution centers in the Shafter area. We flew south over the Tejon Ranch area, and so they could see with a bird's eye view of all this distribution and transportation focused right here in Bakersfield.
Yeah.
And the choke point is 58. It's been 58 choke point for 20 years.
Yeah.
So now that we have the funding for it, let's not keep delaying it, because it was supposed to be the engineering is in District 6 hands now, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and do we have a percentage of completion of the engineering yet, or?
It's the 30% design. We are
Okay.
at that.
So, but it was supposed to be going to construction in 26.
Now they're
Is that what
saying
you had?
2027.
That's gonna be a big problem, I think, yeah. So we wanna elevate that. Let's get it back on track to 26.
I will get back to you, and I will be able to tell you
I know you
why
will.
it has changed, and,
I mean, it's being changed for years and years and years,
yeah.
so.
Also want their advertising June 26, and then by the time it's awarded, you might be
Yeah.
in winter suspension, so maybe actual construction, it might be awarded in 26, or maybe actual
Yeah.
construction.
Well,
'Cause
it's
they're-
gonna
they're-
be awarded, I thought, in 25, construction 26.
it's,
So I know the
2026.
schedule, how it moves.
Right.
So let's focus here and see why it's being pushed again. Now that we have the funding for it. Let's not let this slip away to, oh, well, maybe 28, well, maybe 29, well, maybe 30. So, I got, how many years do I have on here now? 38 or something like that. So, okay, I want to put a shovel in the ground in 26 before I get off this board. Anyway, that's my 2 cents, again.
Though it will give you more time to prepare for it and have those coordination meetings, so everyone will be ready, so we have to look at it
I
that way.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I do have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Catherine, how long were the delays when you had it down to one lane?
I reached out to them and they did not tell me. What they had set up was they had mile vision cameras, so they actually had cameras analyzing the traffic speed, the volume, and they now have to, but they have to take all that raw footage and they run it through analysis, and they'll be able to give us the data within the next within the amount of time it takes to process it. I assume.
So
couple
I was
weeks.
in a meeting with Michael. I don't think you were on the call, just in the last week. And we have an update with Senator Grove, and I invited District 9 to invite Supervisor Parlier to that meeting to inform him about the projects that are going on in his districts, and specifically the update with Senator Grove. I asked in the meeting, and I'll ask again today, to have some updates on what kind of simulations and estimates of delay you're coming up with. And Councilman Smith, what I've heard from Caltrans is they're going to have one lane eastbound into Bakersfield,
Yeah.
cross one lane westbound
Yeah.
into Bakersfield, and one lane eastbound that will cross over the median and use the second lane in the
So two eastbound.
in the westbound lane. So they'll put everybody on what is now the westbound lanes for a 3 or 4 month period while they build the retaining walls and build the new truck climbing lanes. So I agree with Councilman Smith. 18 months is too long. A 3 or 4 month may be bearable, but we need to know details like, are these 1 hour delays? Are they 30-minute delays? Are they 20-minute delays? And that will be very helpful to evaluate the options that we have. And if we can get those by the meeting on the 31st, it would be appreciated.
31st, okay.
I noticed on the Caltrans maps, when you look at traffic backups, it goes to orange, getting slow. Red is, I'm not sure the speed, and then it goes to black. Are you familiar with your maps?
Yeah, the quick map.
So I noticed during the study, it went black toward the end of the day, toward the end of the study period, which means I think you're stop and go at that point.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about big rigs, stop and go, it makes everybody, it's just, they don't change gears very well, so.
Yeah, that's why they did the study on the eastbound, because that's where it's going to be impacted the most. Oh, yeah.
Appreciate everything.
And then of course, discussion of alternative routes. I'm sure you're in conversation about that. And you really you have to divert it at Bakersfield if you're going to do alternative route choices, so.
You mean like Highway 138 go south to, over the Grapevine to
138, up
to Gorman
14.
and head east,
Up
and then
14,
come
yeah.
back up and catch 58 again after that.
Yeah.
That's an enormous,
And then a discussion about Tehachapi, Willow Springs Road. That is a whole other discussion that needs to be done, if, I'm sure you're talking about that, yeah.
I haven't heard that one, because that would be on the east side of all the projects.
Yeah, whether that will be used by people. So, yeah, it's a very complex problem because it impacts the whole, the whole area.
Thanks,
So,
Catherine.
the conversation starts very,
Yes.
very, very seriously at this point, by the sound of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're invested, you're really invested in this discussion, because we have to find the best solution to prevent impact. So it is, we're improving the area, we're improving at least, one section of the grade, but there is going to be some pain experienced.
Yes, and we got 2 more sections to go,
Oh, jeez, yeah.
and 20 years trying to get it done, based on a Caltrans report that I read in 2002.
Thank you. Supervisor Barlier.
Thank you, Chair. In the vein of the director's comments, too, Kern Medical Center is the only trauma center in the county, and a huge delay as far as the time frame can have significant impacts on the ability for people to get trauma-type medical care, and just take that under consideration, too.
I have been considering that. It's interesting because, you know, as a Tehachapi resident, people are they're being stabilized in Tehachapi, and then they're being sent down to Bakersfield or Lancaster. So, you know, so how much time do hospitals have to discuss this, and, or there's also, air ambulances.
Right, but that's limited in the
Yeah.
Kern County.
So, but, yes, I have, personally, I've really thought of the impact. So it'll be interesting to hear again, what kind of, decisions are made by the hospitals.
Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, I've got Susanna Reyes with her hand raised. I don't know if it was from last.
Susanna, you have some comments?
No, I don't. It was the last comment that I had.
Okay, thank you. Executive Director's
Thank you.
report.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Just have a few brief items for this agenda. I attended a CTC meeting that was held December 5th and 6th, and I plan on Kern COG having a presence at the CTC from now until May or June likely, to make sure that our investments over the past year pay off. Over the past month, we've continued to meet and discuss about State Route 99 and 58. We've had a very good meeting with the designers of that 8th movement. Looks like the impacts from Kaiser are going down. Right now, we're down to only one column in their parking lot, which should make the negotiations a little bit easier. Had discussions about State Route 204 and Union Avenue, certainly 7th Standard and 43. I've talked to Supervisor Couch about that. I just mentioned briefly a few minutes ago there will be a meeting held on the 31st of this month to give all parties an update on the truck climbing lanes and the shop project. Senator Grove is currently invited. I asked Caltrans to invite Supervisor Parley if anybody else wants to be involved, and I'm sure Councilman Smith will be involved, and certainly the City of Bakersfield is already City of Tehachapi, is already invited. Also earlier this month, on January 9th, I met with Congressman Fong and Congressman Valadeo and their staffs, talking about the reauthorization of the current federal transportation bill. For those of you that don't know, Congressman Fong is on the Transportation Committee, which is great news for us, along with, I think, technology and aerospace, which is with his knowledge of Edwards Air Force Base. Good news, both Congressman Fong and Congressman Valadeo plan on continuing to offer congressionally designated spending, used to be known as earmarks, and we will continue to work with them on our priorities. Subject to any of your questions, that concludes my report for this agenda.
Any questions for the Director? Seeing none, any member statements? Seeing none, I'll go to the Kern COG Board. Agenda roll call is the same. Public comments, any public comments for the Kern COG? Consent agenda for public comment, any public comments for the consent agenda? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Ione. Reyna. See, you asked me and you know better. And second by? Couch. Okay, you got it. Roll call, please.
Phil Smith,
Yes.
Bob Smith,
Yes.
Reyna,
Yes.
Parlier,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
Couch,
Yes.
and Ione.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appointment of an executive committee member, Ms. Napier.
It's me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The Kern COG Policy Manual establishes the Executive Committee as a standing committee of the COG. The Executive Committee shall be comprised of the chairman, the representative of the City of Bakersfield, and one representative of the County of Kern. In the event that the representatives of the City of Bakersfield and the County of Kern hold the positions of chairman and vice chairman, which they do, the third member shall be appointed by a majority vote of the council. And we're asking that you appoint one board member to the executive committee. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to nominate Mr. Phil Smith of Tehachapi as, and I've got a few reasons, he's the longest-serving member of this council. He was part of the committee when Aaron was hired, and so he's got experience, and I think did a great job there. And he's also a former chairman of this council. So are there any other nominations? Seeing none, roll call vote.
What did he say? No? Okay. Ione,
Aye.
Couch,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
Skip Gorman,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Parlier,
Yes.
Reyna,
Yes.
Bob Smith,
Yes.
and Phil Smith.
Yes.
Thank you.
I misspoke earlier. I don't have 38 years on this, 39 years with the city, only 31 years on this board.
Yeah, you're a young'un. Yeah, that's good. Oh, we rethink our vote now.
Oh, there you go. Now that it's all done.
Executive Director's Report.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, and welcome to the new board members that are here. I don't think there's any brand-new faces, but welcome the mayor from Maricopa, who was here once before as a substitute, but welcome as a new board member. And I wanted to remind not just the new board members, but the existing board members that Kern COG offers are Kern COG 101. We can come to you. You can do it online. We can do it one-on-one here, before or after a board meeting, or anytime you want. It's posted to our website. And Rob Ball is a great presenter, and he's also willing to give it to your full council and to your staff if you want. It's been received by several of the cities over the years, and most of the comments I've gotten have been very positive. Let me remind you what's in your folder. A timeline covering January, February, and March. And as a reminder, as part of the consent agenda, the regional award selectees were confirmed, and that ceremony is March 6th, which is coming up pretty fast. Mark your calendar. Congratulations to all of those from all the communities here that are being recognized. Oh, the next page is the flyer on the regional awards. Seven Oaks Country Club, March 6th. Michael mentioned the State Route 99 planning study. There's a flyer with details on that. And then finally, this is something I update you on multiple times a year, but I want to congratulate all of your staffs. As a reminder, this document here, the blue and yellow spreadsheet, final version was produced on January 13th. Kern COG came in second place in the state for delivering their federal funds, 195%. The only region to beat us was San Diego at 342. And as a reminder, we're spending other people's money when we get above 100%. So great job to all your staffs. Great job to the staffs here that push your staffs to deliver these projects in time. And just to be crystal clear, one of the things that happened this year was we got an extra $6 million in August redistribution that contributed to this high number. Subject to any of your questions, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report for tonight. And we do have a closed session tonight.
Any questions for the director? Seeing none, any member statements? Seeing none, we will move to closed session. Okay, we're back from closed session. Attorney, any reportable action?
We met on the one closed session item, and there is nothing to report.
Thank you. Then we are adjourned. Somebody stole my hammer.